welcome to In Focus. I'm your host, Yesenia Taveras. Today, more and more young girls and women are entering the world of sports, a field that was once dominated by men. Speak English 5 and Sports Communication Group is an organization, a company that is shedding positive light on women in professional sports. And they're having an event here at the 76ers Fieldhouse that is going to not only mentor, but speak to our women, men, and young girls and boys right here in the city of Wilmington. Joining us right now to tell us a little bit about that and more is Jazette Lane English and Joe Richmond. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. How are you?
Nice. Powerful partnership here today.
Yes, it is.
And with the world we're living in, who doesn't love to talk about sports?
Right.
All day long,
Yes.
I can.
Yes.
Right. I can say, at least in your field, there's never a boring day.
Never.
No,
Never.
it's definitely a lifestyle. So
Yes. So before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about who you are so the community can know a little bit about Jazette and Joe. And for those who don't know the roles that you play within your different organizations, just tell us a little bit about who you are.
okay, I am Jazette. My son is a pro. He went to Iona up in New York. I've been involved in pro sports for many, many years. My ex used to play pro. He's a retired professional basketball player. And I started the company with my daughter. She's my partner. She's the CFO of Speak English 5. And we're published authors. We have a radio segment and a sports column. So that's pretty much what we do. We highlight women inside professional sports.
Wonderful. And Joe?
Wow. Well, you know, I was raised as the little one. No.
Right. I was going to say, it probably started around the womb.
You know what I mean? I came here like 20-something years ago. My wife wanted to come here. And I love Delaware. And, you know, I come from Philly. I went to South Philly High School. I coached high school basketball. My family's just been a basketball family. I'm the youngest of 7. And my brother, Big Mike, played at UTEP and got drafted by the Dallas Mavericks. So I've always been around basketball. I love what I do. I've done youth programs. I've owned minor league basketball teams, men and women. I've been overseas. I've toured with the world famous Harlem Globetrotters. So I like to brag that I've been to all 50 states twice and over 35 countries. So you name it, I've done it in this game, and it's just been a blessing ever since.
And let's talk about that. Both of you actually had that opportunity to travel overseas because of professional basketball. What was that like for you and your journey?
Well, for me, it was heavenly. I'm pretty sure. I'm from right here from Wilmington. Since he's bragging, he's from Philly. Let me brag it. I'm homegrown. I'm from right here. So.
Born and raised.
Exactly. So, I have the privilege to live in Europe off and on for 10 years in Italy, France, Spain, Greece, Istanbul, Turkey. So I lived a lot in France. So I lived a lot of places in Europe. Got to experience many, many different cultures. I love to eat, and the food is splendid over there, and the fashion and style, everything. I just loved everything about the culture. And I have 3 children, and all of them were able to have that same experience. My 2 older children were able to go to school over there. So I love Europe, love overseas. And my oldest son has played over there as well now. So.
And what part of Wilmington are you from, Jazette?
I'm from the West Side.
West Side.
Yes.
So for all those young girls.
You checked her for weapons. You know?
I'm from the West Side.
She's still like, don't act like
Right?
you know.
The best side. Right. So for those like young girls and even young boys who like never been outside of West Side, West Center, the William Hicks Community Center, what could
I grew up out in
yes.
that. Went to day camp there. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. I was a camp counselor there for a few years.
Okay.
So it's good to see like someone who has gone through the journey of living there, homegrown, going to school here, and then actually experiencing life overseas.
Right.
So for one who's never even stepped out of Wilmington, what could you share with them?
Broaden your horizon, you know, although, you know, we love our city, our hometown, but there's more to life than your surroundings, and I suggest that you broaden your horizon. And if you can't travel, just open up a book, you know, if people still read hard books, I don't know, or go online or something, but just broaden your horizon, because there's so much more to life and so much beauty, you know, to encompass and to be inspired from. So that's what I suggest.
Okay. And from the born and raised in Philadelphia.
It's so funny, but I've been here 23 years now. My kids grew up here. My daughter went to school here.
Delawarean.
Yeah, yes, William Hicks is like my first home. You know, Mr. Sheehy was there when I first got there. God rest his soul. My man passed away. I can't think of his name. It escapes me right now. But all that is family over there. I've done so much in the William Hicks. My minor league, Chris. Yes, Chris passed, and but they were all family. Miss Lorraine, everybody over there. So I mean, when I first came, me and my brother, when we started our nonprofit over there, and we played, all our tryouts have been there. Even a lot of people don't know that. Even with the G League, with the Delaware Bluecoats, the teams that we practice against, they practice at the William Hicks.
That's right.
That was one of the things that I wanted to bring back to the city before we even came down here with the Fieldhouse. We were still out at Bob, but we practiced at Hicks, and I wanted the kids to see that, and they opened up the doors, and the kids were able to come and see the teams from Toronto, the Cavaliers G League teams, the Warriors G League team practice there. So that's the one thing I love, and I love everything about Delaware. Ever since I've been here, my wife, has since passed, but when we first came, we just loved it here. So I'm a Delawarean. I know Philly can say what they want. I love Philly too, but I love it here. I just love it here. I really do.
And thank you so much for the both of you to shed some light on the William Hicks Anderson Community Center, because for those who don't know, that is our city of Wilmington's only place for kids to go to. It's our only community center where they can play these sports and get to learn these different. I mean, they even boxing there.
Yes, and I call it's almost like the New York City's Rucker Park. It's like Philly's Baker League.
Right.
William Hicks is like hollow ground. You don't do nothing dumb there. You don't come there.
Exactly.
You don't
No disrespect.
no disrespect at the
Right.
Hicks Center, and that's what I love. And they treat everybody like human beings.
That's right.
And that's the one thing I love about it. And I still go over there today. We as the Blue Coats, we donate everything there. Water bottles. We've donated money. We've donated gear. We love it there. And that was before the Fieldhouse was even a concept for us. We always had that relationship with the William Hicks Anderson Center.
And I even went back and taught an art program for the children in the community, and it was we took an artist from each country where I lived. So that was my way to kind of broaden their horizon, to teach through art. So we pick an Italian artist and then study him. We pick a Spanish artist and then study him, like a French artist. So that's how, and then I would have them try to paint one of their paintings, like reproduce it. So that's how I was able to kind of pull my experience overseas back to the West Side and give that to the kids. So I taught that program at the Hicks Center too for a while.
Wonderful.
So,
and let's get into that. Your roles now. You're the ambassador of Blue Coats. You're representing, because I know it's you and your daughter, so you're representing Speak English 5. And let's talk a little bit about your roles in what it is that you're doing with our community in regards to shedding light to basketball. I know this is the only sport we're talking about, but
not for me.
I was going to say, but for you, yes,
my
you
network
worked
is
at
all
NFL,
across, it's all across the
WNBA.
board.
But how this came about was I wanted to do something, and everybody always comes to me with things for the young men, and I do 1,000 of events, and we do 1,000. But I wanted something that could speak to the young ladies, because I have 3 beautiful daughters, and and they came up under sports underneath me, but they carry themselves a certain way because that's the way their mothers wanted it. And by knowing Jazette, I know she had an awesome program. I said, how can I make this happen? What can I do to be something different, something that was unique, not just a basketball camp or clinic for the girls. I didn't want to make it basketball related. I wanted it to be at the Fieldhouse, but I didn't want it to be to have the basketball connotation to it, so to speak.
Right.
I just wanted something where the young ladies can come in there, see it, but that would be the foundation, because that's what shaped my life.
Right.
And then Jazette just took it to another level with this Females and Phenoms event.
Yeah, let's talk about that, Females and Phenoms on July 25th.
We are Phenoms, right? We are just naturally, right? So I just wanted to let everybody know who's confused that females are Phenoms.
Yes.
So our Phenoms will be our mentees next week. That's what we're speaking about. And then I have a ton of my friends, I call them WIPs, Women Inside Professional Sports. So a ton of WIPs from all across the country are coming to Wilmington, Delaware to mentor our young girls. And when I went to them, all of them whose schedules were free, they all hopped right on it. So they're coming. It's going to be about 25 of us in that Fieldhouse mentoring
and why
the young
is it
girls.
important to have this type of event here in the city? I mean, I know we talked about the importance of sports, but now we're actually shedding light on here where you're connecting people who are living this to people who are aspiring to be in their place.
Well, for me, as the ambassador of basketball for the Blue Coats, I'm always in the community, whether from here down to Rehoboth. But Wilmington has always been that second home to me, whether it was Newcastle, anywhere. I just loved. But the one thing I noticed is that our young ladies are, because like I said, I'm with my daughter and I go to volleyball events, I go to soccer events, and our young ladies doesn't have a lot to really look up to as far as being represented. You know what I mean? And I've known like a Dawn Staley that played at Temple, South Carolina, head coach, women's head coach, and then even at Mount Pleasant High School, their boys head coach is a woman. Okay. And I think we need to bring more of that to light. You know, I applaud what Delaware is doing in the WNBA as representing us. But when I could see with Jazette that network that she had of the different types of women, authors, chefs, designers, lawyers, I was like, wow, our young ladies need to see this. And that's what was important for me, and that's why this all really came about.
And speak to us about your platform, what Speak English 5 actually really does.
Well, we just provide a platform for women inside professional sports to share with the community what they do best, whatever that is. If they're attorneys, if they're artists, if they're actually the athlete, the WNBA player, or the professional boxer, you know, we want to share with the community what they do, what they're best at, you know, because that's what girls I feel need to see. They need to be able to have role models like that before them to pull them along, so they know that they can aspire to be great in life and they can reach their highest potential. So that's what we do. We have a sports column in Copa Style magazine. We have a radio segment, and we're published authors. Like I said, we have a book that my daughter and I co-authored that talks about all different aspects of what goes on inside professional sports. Yes, that's the book, and proud of that book.
Yes, it is.
And we took our interviews that we collected over 3 years of whips, and then we took the best parts of those interviews and just compiled them in a book, so everybody can get a taste of the perspective of each woman that's featured. We have Lucille O'Neill in the book. We have Chastity Melvin in the book. We have a ton of women in that book that a lot of people that are involved in sports can identify with and will recognize each woman's name. However, if you're not in a sport, you will be able to identify just based off the topics that we talk about. You know, they're raising athletes. We talk about infidelity in marriage. We talk about finances. We talk about the climate in the communities with the issues between the police and our black men. We talk about all those things in that book. So anybody that reads that book, male or female, young girl, grown woman, little boy, grown man, will be able to take something from that book. So those are the things that we do.
And I feel a sense of empowerment. And that cover spoke so loud to me because it's you and your daughter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
we do that's my dog. We do everything.
Talk to us about that. Shed some light on that, because sometimes there can be like a little, I could say negative energy between a mom and a young girl growing up. And then, young girls are known to be independent before the sons, right? But here you're showing a powerful connection here, a partnership in business, and actually empowering other young women as well.
Well, we started because I have two boys that are very, very good athletes. They've been gotten recognition for their athletic abilities from the time they were since they were 3, both of my sons. So I just used to watch my daughter, and I always felt like she didn't get the light that she deserved, So I watched her, and then I felt that same energy being the wife of a professional basketball player, because it was always about his career, him. Even everything we did in our lives had to, be circled around him, because, he was the breadwinner, the provider, so we had to go wherever he needed to go. So after she got older, I said we need to do something, because if we feel this way, we feel like we were not hindered a little bit, but just had to put our goals and aspirations on the back burner to support their careers. We need to do something, because there has to be other women that feel the same way. Now, my daughter and I have always gotten along. We never had she never gave me any trouble, and this is the truth, never, So wonderful. Now, I love her to death. I always have, and I don't know what she thinks about me or what she thought about me when she was a teenager, but we never butt heads. We just always were like best friends. When I had her, I felt like God gave me my best friend, and that's just the honest truth. So we just work so well together, like a well-oiled machine. So my shortcomings are her strengths, and vice versa. So we're able to get so much done as a result of that. We are like if I could say it myself, we're like a powerful mother daughter team, and I know God had his hands in our relationship.
That's wonderful.
And so that's how that came about. All of our projects we do together, all of them. So
that's wonderful.
Yes.
And the one, talking about partnership, the both of you guys actually started your own nonprofit at one point. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, I Am Focused Finance was my brother Big Mike and my friend of 20-something years, Tim Higgins, who's a Philadelphia police officer, and we just came together because we were doing all these basketball things. So we wanted to incorporate it and find a way to get it up. But it got sparked from the Atlanta child murders. You remember that?
Okay.
That's where it got sparked. So back then you had to get the Polaroid. So we were putting the events together, and we were taking the pictures in the community of the youth to give to that grandmother, that mother,
So
because what happened was when the police were going to the houses, they always had pictures of them with groups of people.
That's amazing.
So we had to find a way to get it. So we went and bought a backdrop, and we went to the foundation in Atlanta, and that's how we started our nonprofit. And we used sports as the way to draw them in, just so we can get the information. And the pamphlet had the actual picture of the child, height, weight, everything. So now if something ever happened to the child or they went missing, they just went to the police. They could just give them that instead of funneling through the drawer with a bunch of pictures. And that's how we got started. We've been around for 20 years, and we brought it to Delaware, and we still do it today. We partnership with Walgreens. We've partnership with Walmart. We've done a plethora of events just on that alone.
Okay. And what's your take, since you guys have both been so immersed into sports on a professional level? What's your take on the disparity in pay when it comes to women in sports? We just had our soccer team.
That is a chapter in the book.
Okay, see, we got to get to that chapter.
Yes,
but we just won we won the World Cup here. So let's talk about like the disparity. Like, what can women do? Because we have a lot of young girls who are looking to be on a professional sports team like this, or be a part of a WNBA. Tennis. Talk to us a little bit about how do you, like, what's your view on that? Like, how do you approach that?
First of all, the community has to go out and support the women. The players get paid because the fans pay for the tickets
to see
and they're in the stands and they're buying all
Supply
of the swag. So that's the way you get them paid more. You go to the events and you support what their efforts and what they're doing. And you don't have to expect them to be wearing booty shorts when they're playing their sports. You want to be able to see them in regular clothes like you see the male players. And people, when they think of women, a lot of times they associate us as sex symbols. So if they don't see that when they're on the court, then it's like I don't want to go. And that's just my experience from interviewing people, and that's their perspective on that. But the way to get them paid is to support and go to the events and buy the tickets, and then their salaries have to go up. That's that's my take on it.
And it is, and I'm an advocate of that. I believe that. I mean, my daughter played volleyball. It used to hurt my heart. I would go to high school and it really wasn't packed. Like, these games are exciting, you know what I mean? And when my brother and I, we owned the Lady Destroyers. We played our games at William Hicks, and I was like, why? The men would play and the gym would clear out when the women would play.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't y'all stay? And it's more great. And like she says, like supplying them. If they're putting out their product, you want to go get it. You have to. And as those ticket sales go up, concessions go up, jersey sales go up, then the women got to get paid. But it's just something that's going on, and I'm glad that the women have started. You got companies that are now backing them, and it's going to change the whole foundation and the landscape of how we go forward in the next 5-10 years. I see it.
Right,
I see it
because
happening.
they have the same skill sets, if not better, than some of these men who are playing in these professional sports.
And you have women dunking in basketball now.
Oh yeah,
right. That's right.
They are.
I can dunk.
Good. Without those on?
I won't even attempt to dunk. So is that a reflection on our society? I mean, I know women have come a long way. Like I said earlier in my open, these are male-dominated sports at one point, but now they're to an actual point where they can play sports and get paid on a professional level. But with the way our society, like you said, are not coming to these games, do you think we still have a long way to go? And if we do, like, what are some other ways? And your professional sport, you've been through the journey yourself. Like, anything you could shed light on for us?
I think that we've been taking baby steps. I think we need to take a leap now, because times are changing. And I just think that with platforms like this, and you're talking about it, platforms like what I have and what Joe has and what he does, I think that will help urge people and help us make a change to benefit these women that are putting their heart and soul into these careers, and they love it just as much as men love it. you know, and they're throwing their bodies on the floor and everything else to, you know, for the game. And I just think that we owe it to them to honor that.
That's right.
Well, we have to do something because even with the world of technology, you don't even see it. You got fantasy football, fantasy basketball, but it's for the men. You don't see it as much promoted for the women. NCAA time, men, NCAA March Madness for the men. It's not that much of a hoopla for the women. And it has to be created and it's there. We just got to find a way to tap into it and make it to where that level is. And we understand that it is about the men at times because of the dominance and the strength and the jumping and the dunking, but you get the same energy, you get the same passion from the women, and it just needs to be marketed or need to be put in the spotlight. Like my man say, shine a light on it.
What she's doing, right?
I got to. And it comes back even to females and phenoms. This is an actual platform now for men to really come out and support.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
That's what we're looking for. When I put it on my timeline, I'm asking all my basketball guys, all my coaches, come out and let's show these women that we're behind them. As coaches, that's our actual responsibility, not just for the young men, but we're coaches of everybody. So this event, when Jazette and I talked about it, that was the main thing that we wanted to hit home. Here's a real opportunity for the leaders, men leaders in the community. They ain't got to be politicians or business people. Anybody, you want to be a leader, let's come and show these young ladies that we are behind you, that there is someone to talk to, that you know there are men that are doing the right things and are working, and there are other fathers, because I got some fathers that are bringing their daughters to the event, and that's the one beauty of the whole thing, because we need to bridge that gap, and we're hoping that this event allows us to do that.
And that's perfect, Joe. That's why I admire this partnership, and I really wanted the both of you to be here to show that this can happen, and the two of you are here to show that it can happen.
We even have a group of we have a panel discussion that's made up of male panelists for that perspective, so that to get the men to come out and let them know that it is for men, and also so that the mentees can get the perspective of a man that's positive in the community. So we have a panel discussion that we're going to have too that's features men.
And let's talk about a little bit. We're going to talk about the event as well, but females as phenoms. Like, talk to us about that part. Like, for those who don't understand or kind of ignorant to just that phrase.
Oh, this is amazing. Tell them how to say good.
Give us a little history here.
It's amazing. It really is.
Just know, like I said before, the females are phenomenal, and we do exceptional things, and we are a part of the fabric of sports. And nobody can deny that our essence is within the fabric of sports. So I just want I'm just using my connections in the pro sports world to come and try to benefit the community. But I feel like women are just phenomenal. We're just born that way, and we need somebody to harness our abilities and our gifts and pull that out of us. And that is the goal, to have the mentees come, our phenoms come, and we remind them that they are phenomenal. And if nobody ever told them that, they're going to hear it next week, and they're going to hear it several times. So when they walk out of that event, they're going to know that they're phenomenal. And then hopefully we impact the trajectory of their lives, and they feel like they can accomplish whatever they put their minds to.
And the beautiful thing that I like that you shared earlier too is that not only are women phenomenal, but they're phenomenal on and off the court. They're in leadership positions as well.
You look at the Sixers, they just hired a female assistant coach, and that's going to be amazing to look at a Sixers game and see that. And that's the one thing I loved about the partnership. Once we opened up the doors to the Fieldhouse, the Buccini people, they opened up. I mean, listen, they gave us a bunch of concessions to make this happen. I mean, there's a lot of donated dollars. This ain't cheap to put together.
Right. That's right.
And but a lot of people have come together to make this happen. When I presented it to the Blue Coats, hey, what do we need to do? How are we a part of this? What do we need to make this happen? When we went to BPG Sports, okay, no, we can't pay that type of rent. What can y'all do for us?
Right. Okay.
A lot of things were, concessions was given.
Yeah.
And this is where it has to start somewhere.
Right.
They have to see value in this. And if nothing else, when Jazette came and presented herself and was professional, right? As women, we have to be professional as men and carry ourselves accordingly. And she carried herself accordingly, because this is going to be impactful. And I know I got a lot of energy, and because I'm really excited about it. I really am. And
I'm passionate.
Jazette, she's very humble. You know, and that's what I love about her. So I like to let me be the one to be loud and brag about it. Because
he's gonna shed the light on it for you.
yeah, because it is. And you know, I had a mother that was strong. You know, it was 6 boys. My mom held the house down because daddy was working somewhere else. And none of us are in jail. None of us are on drugs. And none of us are alcoholics. And we're all functioning good in society. All my brothers are. We're all living. And that's a testament to the strength of my mom. Because dad was gone. So when mommy laid that law down, it was the law.
That's right.
And she was phenomenal. And I wish she was here to see something of this magnitude and see that I'm a part of it, because that's what I want, because that was a strong mom. And when I met Jazette years ago, my daughter interned with her because she just was somebody that I looked up to. And I'm like, this is who I want my daughter to aspire to be like.
Yeah.
You got to. And you know, when I first met you, and it's like, we have some real women, and I hope I don't go off track and say something wrong, because you know everything is political correct, but there's a lot of enough negative women out there that's being shown on.
Yes.
And we need to get our women, our young ladies, so to speak, down here and say, hey, no, that's how they made those decisions after they were past this. We want you guys, we want to give you a platform right now to show yourself. And then, hey, maybe one day you might go, we hope you don't. But at least we're going to give you a foundation to say this is what you can look at. And we're not saying anything negative about that, but we want to at least show them something positive first and put that in their head, because social media is giving them all the dumbness.
That's right, that's right.
Social media is giving them all the dumbness.
Now.
And I really do. And I appreciate you bringing us on the show to really talk about it. Because we are very serious about what we're about to accomplish on the 25th.
And we only have a minute to leave out of this segment, but I'm going to leave the floor for you, Jazette. What can one expect at this event, and how can they go ahead and purchase tickets?
Okay, so the event is next Thursday, July the 25th, at the 76ers Fieldhouse here in Wilmington. The event will kick off at 5:30 with a pink carpet, VIP reception. Then we'll have our panel discussion. Our mentorship piece will have, and there's going to be vendors there, and there's still opportunities to become a vendor if you like to. And it's networking, businesses, local businesses, everybody from the community. It's for everyone. It's not just for little girls and women. It's for men. It's for families. It's a family-oriented event to uplift and empower our girls in our community and give back and pour into them, love on them, and impact their lives. We're going to have women from the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, boxing, the WNBA, all across the board, whether they're the daughters, the athletes, the wives, the mothers. We're going to have all kinds of women there in professional sports, and they're excited to come and pour into the girls in our community. What else I missed, Joe?
We got some great giveaways.
Yeah, we have giveaways. We still have sponsorships available. We're still accepting sponsorship because we want to make sure that we can give the best event that we can to these girls. We want to give them a lot of swag to take home with them. The mentorship piece that my daughter and I created, I got to pat myself on the back because it's the bomb. So please come so that you can have the experience and meet and network with the women inside professional sports and the men that are going to be there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Joe and Jazette, for your time. Thank you for bringing this phenomenal event to the 76ers Fieldhouse.
Thank you for having us.
And we look forward to seeing it.
Great.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And on behalf of all of us here, the staff here at WITN 22, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for watching this episode of In Focus. I've been your host, Yesenia Taveras.